You see, despite all the wins, I'm still paid less than men who do the same job that I do.
No, you're not, because no, they don't. Hey there guys, my name is Tyler and welcome to another TyTalk. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing why demanding equal pay is a symptom of slave morality and how equal is being used to tear others down. As you saw in the opening clip, Megan Rapinoe thinks that she is paid less because she is a woman, and she thinks that she does the same job that the men do. This, of course, is another beautiful example of redefinition. She is not paid less because she's a woman. She's paid less because
the women got a pool, or got paid out from a pool of $30 million from the Women's World Cup. The men would draw from a pool of $400 million, okay? $400 million, $30 million. Why is that? It's because the Men's World Cup generates $6 billion in revenue. The Women's World Cup generates $131 million in revenue. If you want to talk about pay disparity, the Women's World Cup players get paid out 20% of the total revenue. The men get paid out 7%. As a percentage point, they are getting much more. The problem is, for anybody desiring equal pay, and by the way, I think equal pay is a ridiculous concept in and of itself. If the women generate more revenue, they should get paid more than the men. Don't strive for getting the same, strive for getting what you're worth. And if you're worth more, then get more.
she's paid less because she brings in less. It's that level of simple. This is the exact same issue going on in the WNBA, where they are also demanding more money, claiming that they do the exact same job as the NBA players. Okay, let's just compare some numbers really quick. For the year of 2024, the WNBA recorded an estimated $200 million in revenue. The NBA, their male counterparts, recorded anywhere from $11 to $13 billion in revenue. Based on this alone, are these two numbers the same? Is 200 million the same as 13 billion? No. 13 billion is 65 times larger than 200 million. Everything about equal pay for equal work is a lie. But let's get back to that Megan Rapinoe. She said, quote, "Despite all of the wins, I'm still paid less than men who do the same job that I do." First off, as Will Kane said, you shouldn't want to be paid equally. You should want to be paid what you are worth. And if it's more than someone else, take it. But let's start destroying this argument by asking some questions to determine if it really is the same job. Question 1. Does the Women's World Cup bring in the same revenue as the Men's World Cup? No. Just like with the WNBA, the Women's World Cup is massively outclassed when it comes to revenue generation. The Women's World Cup was able to create about $570 million in revenue, whereas the Men's World Cup generated $7.5 billion in revenue. That is 13 times greater than what the women did. Question 2. Does the women's team play against the same opponents as the men? No. You may not know this, but women play against other women and men play against other men. This, of course, leads into question 3. What would happen if the women played against the men? Well, this direct head-to-head has never happened, but we can guess on how it would go based on how the other games have gone that the women have played. For example, in 2017, they played FC Dallas U15 boys team and lost 5-2. In 2023, they played Say Word FC and lost 5-0. Say Word was made up of roughly 18 to 20-year-olds. Also in 2023, a group of retired women's players had a tournament against retired Wrexham in which they lost 12-0. Now, I don't want you to think that this is exclusive to the U.S. women's team. It's how all women fare when playing against men. In 2013, the Swedish women's national team took on an undermanned local boys team and lost 3-0. In 2017, the Australian women's national team took on the Newcastle Jets, which are also under 15, and lost 7-0. Even in 2025, the Switzerland women's national team took on the under 15 boys and lost 7-1. So I would like to think that it's safe to assume that the women's national team would not do well against the men, considering that they can't even beat barely teenage boys. They would likely be absolutely crushed, which of course leads to question 4. If the women were men and performed how they do, what would their rank be? Now this one is harder to answer, but I would assume, based on the answer to question 3, that they wouldn't even be able to qualify for the Men's World Cup, and if they did, their team would likely be eliminated early on, because even the worst men's teams are still better than 15-year-old boys. So let's recap. You're not bringing in the same amount of money. You're not playing the same opponents. You lose to the boys' teams, and if you were men, you wouldn't even qualify for the tournament. But you want to be paid the same based on the theory that you are doing the same work, which you clearly aren't. At best, and this is very generous, based on your performance, you can play for the USL Championship, which is both below the MLS and independent from it. But funny story, their stars might make upwards of $200,000 a year, but the average player is between $40,000 and $60,000. Which is funny, Megan, because you were given $447,000 in 23 for your league play. That's about 10 times higher than what you should be getting. You wanted to get paid like the men, right? Or are the men in the USL the wrong men? I know slave morality hates definitions, but honest question. What do you mean when you say you want to be paid like the men? This happens all the time when dealing with equal pay and its arguments. We want to get paid like the men. Okay, another question now. Do you know that the men are not paid like the men? On the last screenshot, we also see Ronaldo making an annual salary of $60 million, but the USL men only make $40,000 a year. So again, what do you mean when you want to get paid like the men? You want to get paid like the men's national team when you can't even compete in their league, but you don't want to get paid like the men that you might actually have a chance against. This is exactly how I know that you, Megan, are full of shit and driven by your ego. You want to be seen as if you're the same thing. You're not. You are not good enough to play on the men's teams, and there's nothing wrong with that, considering how many men are not good enough to play on the men's teams. But you have an issue with that. You have an issue with not being seen as good enough, because it's always about external validation. As I mentioned in my communist video, I wish I was getting paid $10,000 per wedding. I'm not. Why? Because I'm not good enough. People don't think I'm worth $10,000 a wedding. Knowing that doesn't bother me at all. I don't care if people don't think I'm worth it, and that's one of the reasons why I care about my clients that do think I'm worth it. Meanwhile, Megan, being the greedy grifter that she is, she's concerned with being seen as good as the men. She doesn't want to be it. She just wants to be seen as if she's as good. So that way she can get paid like them. She knows that she's nowhere near as good, so she needs to change the argument. She needs to redefine it. Well, we do the same job as men, so we should get paid as same as the men. No, you don't. And the men don't get paid like the men. So like usual with knowingly and willingly, she's either too stupid for this discussion or is intentionally lying to people. But I know that she's not too stupid for this. I know what she's doing. I know that she's advocating for discrimination in her favor, and she then redefines that discrimination into equality. She can't go head to head, so she needs to lie. There is no equal pay and there is no equal work. Sure, you can get paid the exact same as someone else, but there is no chance in hell that you're doing the same work for that pay. And you're not doing the same work because you are not the same person. Even if you work for the same company in the same position as someone else, your wages will be different. McDonald's is paying new hires $9.25 an hour in Mississippi, but paying $20 an hour in California. This is as close as you can possibly get to equal pay for equal work, and it still won't be the same. Why is that? Because this isn't a thing. We are not the same and never will be. Our work is not the same and it never will be. And again, that's okay. Only a slave would be obsessed with being viewed as equal to another person, but not actually be equal. Am I in the NBA? No. Am I in the NFL? No. But I want you all to treat me like I am. Equality means treated the same under the law. It does not mean that we are to be treated the same in every other aspect of our lives. It doesn't mean that I can be worse at something than someone else, and you need to treat me like I'm just as good. That mentality is only going to make things worse. No, you're not good enough to be paid like the men, Megan. Oh well, but neither are so many countless other men. But you know what it means? When you're not good enough to be paid more in general, it means that you can improve. You can become better. That should be the mentality. I'm not where I want to be, but I can get there because I can be better. Hey there guys, thank you so much for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next one. Thank you again so much for watching.